Okay, so I'm going to talk about nomads now. So increasingly there's more and more people who are moving around the world who are digital nomads, and not everybody has a tax base. Now, I'm going to say something in this video right now, and that's that increasingly it makes sense for so-called digital nomads to find a tax base, and it makes investments easier, it makes many things easier. Now, I'm going to talk in another video about setting yourself up in a kind of, you could say, low tax place, or even sometimes a no tax place. But essentially what's happening now, if you want an investment account, whether you are a nomad or whether you're not a nomad, one of the things that they ask for is a tax identification number. Now, at the end of the day, yes, you can use your home country's tax number, but increasingly it's happened in Australia, it's happened in many countries. Expats have been hit by unexpected tax bills because the authorities have said, well, can you prove you were an expat for all those years? It's a huge misconception to suggest that just because you don't spend 183 days a year at home, that means there can never be any tax implications. So some people on the internet think, well, I can just spend 90 days a year in one country, 90 days in another, 90 days in a third country, 90 days in a fourth country. You know what, it might work for 1 or 2 years, but also further down the road, you never know how things will change. Who knows, in 5 years, 10 years, it might become illegal worldwide to have no tax identification number. Just look at how things have changed in the last 5 years with bank secrecy ending in the last 5 or 10 years, should I say, and also many other changes. So my strong advice, both for expat investments and indeed nomad taxes, is set yourself up in a low tax base, and then from that base, then you can actually do whatever you want. So I'll give you a perfect example. Malaysia is just one country of many which allows zero tax on overseas income. So if you're living in Malaysia, you're paying 0% tax on your overseas income. That's perfectly legal as long as you're living there legally. Likewise, most Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia, Oman, UAE have zero tax. Just because you're registered somewhere doesn't mean you have to pay high taxes. It's always better to have a tax base and do things properly than to leave it to chance. And then once you've got that tax base, you can use your tax identification number to do many types of investments, whereas if you don't have that number, often you're left with some difficult choices. Okay everyone, hope that was useful.